What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? And today, I saved the biggest for last because this is the first time we have officially gone international with Nights of Horror and just reached out and tapped into the haunt community out there. And it is a rapidly growing haunt community overseas, and many different parts overseas as well. Today, though, we're focusing on Australia because Australia in its own has been killing it in the haunt scene. And with me to talk about that, a big part of that haunt scene out there is none other than Presley and Rachel. How are you doing today?
We're doing great. Thank you so much for having us on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you. It's a huge honor for two little Aussies to be on such a huge podcast. So thank you so much for having us.
Oh my God, thank you so much for calling it a huge podcast. I mean, that is awesome for you to even say that. That's the biggest compliment we've ever gotten. I will wear that badge with honor. So I'm just gonna get into the nitty gritty of it. I am a huge fan, as well as a lot of people out here in Southern California and in the haunt community out here, of you two, of what you guys do and what you guys do as a team and everything during haunt season. What was it that was the first inspiration that drew you guys to want to start sliding? Because this is something that's been around now since like the late 80s, going on some time now, and I know it's starting to reach a global expansion, and it's so awesome to see. What was it for you two that was like, hey, we want to give this a shot?
Yeah, well, for me personally, I started in 2022 is when I got introduced into the world of sliding. Previous to that, around COVID and that, our social media started flooding up with footage of like Slider Jesus, the Decay Brigade team, and all that. And we kind of saw a little bit of that. We're like, oh, what is this? What is this world of haunt and this amazing creative side of things that we kind of have coming across here, and, you know, getting to actually be a part of that kind of sport and that kind of fun and thrill of things. I know for yourself.
Yeah, I've been in the haunt industry since probably about 2017.
Nice.
I started doing a lot of local haunts just as a normal scare performer. I've always been an actor, so I've always loved that world. And then it wasn't until, like I said, around the COVID times where we actually saw sliding. And as a performer that had done an aspect of sliding in one of my haunts, but without any knee pads or anything, it was literally just on my costume, just for a good scare. I was like, oh wow, this is actually like a really cool way to do it instead of just, you know, tearing up the knees on your suit. So yeah, we got into that world, and then ever since then, it was just looking at everything to do with, you know, every slider that popped up. Like Prez said, Slider Jesus, Decay Brigade, huge inspirations. And our background, we're both Australian stunt performers as well.
Oh wow!
So we saw that world and went, wow, we can actually incorporate that into our work as well. So it kind of just skyrocketed from then.
Wow, incredible. I mean, and I've always said, I think sliding in general it needs to be a sport of some sort. I mean, there's ways around it that you can make this a sport where, you know, they just recently let skateboarding in the Olympics. So I'm very faithful in another 20 years we'll get sliding in the Olympics eventually. But you know, it's so crazy to think about. Like you know, I've gotten the opportunity to meet a lot of the original people who you know started sliding at Not Scary Farm and really left that legacy for future generations to keep it going and expand to different haunts. Now we're expanding, you know, different states and different, you know, countries and everything. It is insane the influence that a lot of these teams out in Southern California, out in other states and whatnot have had to the impact of the haunt scene and the sliding scene overseas as well. What was it like for you two when you finally were ready to put on some pads and give it a shot? Was it challenging in the beginning to figure out how you guys were gonna tackle it and how you guys were gonna accomplish it, or was it something that was like second nature for you guys? You're like, this is cake.
I think personally for myself, I know it was definitely a challenging task to get into. Like my introduction to it was, hey, we want to come and do this with us. We got tryouts and that, and what you're doing is chucking pads on and some gloves with these. We had like plastic pucks that like the downhill borders and that use
Mhm.
to start off with. And I'm like, hey, just chuck this on and, you slide across the ground and that's pretty much all you do. And that was our first introduction. I was like, what is this that we're getting involved in? Like, what is this meant to lead to? What are you meant to do with this? I just sounded so crazy and so spontaneous of a kind of thing that we could actually do. So it was nuts at first. And I remember our first time actually training and actually going and doing it. We didn't know how to stop. We just slide and we didn't know how to put the brakes on. It was like, I think one day we had a buggy parked in front of us and he was like, all right, just slide up to the buggy and stop just before it. Don't hit it. I think one tall guy went straight into that buggy, took himself out and went, oh, what have we got ourselves in for?
Oh man.
What about for yourself?
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge. I started a year later than Presley. They already had their team, and like Pres said, they said we've got tryouts come along. And then he made it to the team in 2022. I was still working at the event, but I was in a different section. And then when 2023 rolled along, I was like, no, I have to 100%. I did a self-tape. So I just filmed myself doing all the different stops. If someone like runs in front of you, all the different situations that could happen in a haunt, and submitting that through to the head who was picking. And then they stuck with the same core group. And now there's just like an extra addition that they added on, which was really cool because I ended up being officially, there's been other girls I know that have done sliding in other little like local haunts that we have. But I ended up being the first official named female slider in Australia, as well as the first one to ever perform in a theme park.
Wow.
So it made really cool history books for myself, which was awesome. But yeah, it was terrifying doing it at first. I thought I'm just going to eat the absolute ground. And we have battle scars, as everyone does.
Yeah,
but it was,
of course.
Once we got it, it's now just become complete second nature to us.
Oh, and not to mention, you said you know I want to go back in something that you said was you made history in your little world. Now, no, you made history in the entire haunt world. Like that is just insane. Like just to see that. But you guys are making history regardless as a team in the entire haunt world of taking it out there and doing what you're doing and showing that influence out. I mean, like I said, when we got word and videos over here about it, I mean, people were sending it to people like crazy. It was ending up on people's Instagram stories. Like I was seeing things like crazy from you guys. And I was like, this is insane. It was actually funny because my dad was watching, my dad likes to browse on YouTube a lot and he likes to look up theme parks lately. And he came across your guys' theme park and he goes, where is this? I'm like, oh, I'm interviewing some people that actually scare at that theme park tonight. I will get you all the details of everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next question. The theme park you guys scare at. Now, I know they're rapidly building things to kind of increase the population of theme park goers and just theme parks in general, accessible worldwide now. Where is the theme park specifically for people that don't know that you guys scare at, and then what does it turn into for haunt? Like they usually have like some fun cheesy name, like Knott's Berry Farm is Knott's Berry Farm all year, and then it turns into Knott's Scary Farm. So it's like it's a whole like play on words thing. Like what is the haunt that you guys work at, and what is it during the day?
So the park we work at is called Warner Brothers Movie World. That's located on the Gold Coast, so that's within Queensland in Australia. Through the day, it's a Warner Brothers theme park, so it has all of the IP licensing rights to all of like your like probably Warner Brothers characters and Warner movie characters. A lot of our rides are also themed off that. And we also have the rights to DC as well. So we have a lot of the, Joker, Harley Quinn, Superman characters and the rides as well. And that's probably, I would say it's probably one of the biggest ones in Australia. We've also got Luna Park in Melbourne who do some haunt. But the most well-known in Australia is Movie World, I would honestly say. And then for Halloween season, it turns into Fright Nights. So Fright Nights, it's been a forever kind of changing event. Every year or every 2 years, there's always some kind of different creative direction that the directors and stuff want to try to go with. I know last year our big main icon that we had was Beetlejuice because of the new film.
Yeah.
So we had a whole Beetlejuice themed introduction and stuff like that. But we ended up we now have 5 haunts. We used to have 4, but now we have 5 haunts houses that actually happen. Some are IP, some are original themes. And then we have anywhere from 2 to 5 precincts as well that contain all different stories and monsters and things like that.
I need to book a trip. I've seen clips of Warner Brothers World or the movie world. I've seen footage and tours of this, and I'm a massive DC fan. So like and I'm a massive Batman fan. So I know they have like a lot of Batman representation there, and like, you know, I'll be honest with you, and I'll be the first to say it. People over here in the state, we get extremely jealous that you guys have stuff like that over there. But I know it works both ways, because it's like there's things that we have over here that, you know, and it's like I'm glad that there are equal mediums now that everyone can enjoy something. You know what I mean? And even makes you want to go and travel to see new things. And specifically, I would obviously travel during the haunt season, because I would want to see it obviously during the day, but I would also, of course, want to see it during the haunt. But I've seen so many clips, and we watch stuff on YouTube, me and my girlfriend, throughout the haunt season, even while we're preparing to go to a haunt that night ourselves, and we'll turn on different stuff and we'll look up different stuff. This one has honestly been on my list for some time, and I love what you guys do over there. Talk to me on a typical night. Like, what is it like for you guys to like arrive, and like what is the process like leading up to that official opening of the gates?
So process-wise, the park for normal day customers shuts at 5 p.m. And then people that are like queuing up, I think they're allowed in at like 4:45 in a certain area to start queuing for our main show. So our event opens at 6. We usually get there a little bit earlier, because obviously as sliders we have particular needs for the costumes to make sure they're all operational. So we arrive, sign in, get all our costumes organized. From there, we do probably about like a 20-minute, I'd probably say, warm up. Yeah. Just to in all our gear to get ourselves ready. And then about 10 minutes before the event kicks off, we all have a big team meeting just to talk about the night. And then at 6 p.m, when the gates open up and our big show happens, it happens on our big main stage. It's an annual thing we've done every year since it's opened. I think it opened in 2006, I think. Yeah, the first.
2006 is the first time the event ran. It used to only be a single night event.
Yeah.
Wow. Just one night.
Wow. One night. And it's grown now to, we did trial 3 nights, and now it's just gone back to the 2 nights, the Friday and Saturdays. But they do also add in a Thursday now as well, so it can go over 3 nights as well towards the end of the season.
Wow.
So which is very impressive.
Yeah.
But a thing that they've always done since the very beginning is we call it a wood rush. And it's one way that it always stays the same no matter what kind of story we're going through or IP that we're using. We always have it, and it always gets the crowd excited.
Yes.
And it's pretty much, there's a certain cue in our soundtracks, and the overarching story continues to play out. And as that happens, from either side of the stage, just from completely out of nowhere, out of our 2 side doors, we have all of our 200 or more performers converge and line the entire front of the street. And then when the audio is over, there'll be a voiceover or a live performer, and they'll yell, "Release the horde." And then our fire special effects go off, the loud crackers go off, and we all just run and converge down the main street, and everyone just like scatters.
I got goosebumps just hearing that. Like, I felt like I was in the crowd for a second. Like, what I love about that is you took over here, the best way I can compare over here is you took 2 iconic haunt openings over here and Frankensteined them and made it, I think, even better, in my opinion. You took a Halloween Horror Nights style opening and a Not Scary Farm style opening, and you blended them together, and this is what you got, and it just incredible. For anyone that is curious, I'm pretty sure there's videos on YouTube, and I definitely need you guys to go check that out, because that sounds, I mean, like I said, I got goosebumps just thinking about it. I thought I was in the crowd for a second. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I think that sounds so fun. I mean, I now I gotta make a trip eventually. I gotta get a passport and I gotta get out there. what for you guys, what's some things for you that help you get, is there anything that you guys do? Like, because for me, when I get pumped going to a haunt, I like to listen to music. I make a playlist every single year. I call it the Haunt Playlist, and it's variety of music. This year, Kendrick Lamar is definitely going to be on that playlist after the performance he had at the Super Bowl. But I mean, I got metal in there, I got rock and roll. What is something for you guys that gets you in the mood, in the zone, to get into character? Is it something like you guys just kind of like being by yourselves for a second to kind of just breathe and enjoy what's going to happen, or do you guys listen to music? Do you guys pump each other up? Like, what do you guys do to get really psyched?
I think for us, our big hype moment was always the opening.
That opening.
So for a couple of years there in 2022, and then Rachel's first year in 2023, our opening song that we went out to and slid to was Master of Puppets by Metallica. So we went out to an explosive heavy metal song, and we were just sliding our hearts out for like minutes. So I think anytime that song comes up on a day that we're preparing to slide that night, the memories come back to that entire opening performance, and we just get completely hyped.
Yeah, and that was the year as well that when we had Master of Puppets play, that was the year that Stranger Things had just had it on their season. And it was only about a month's difference from when we started. So and there was a bit of like, we have like dancing and stuff on the stage as well before we come out. So when the music would start, we would have about a minute and a half delay before our cue was to come out. So all you'd hear in the back of our little stadium is just this absolute bass drop of just that opening of Master of Puppets. And in that moment, all the sliders would just be there, just headbanging, just vibing to the music. That always just G's up, got us ready.
It got me pumped. I mean, I remember you brought up Stranger Things, right? And I was gonna bring that up as well. I mean that's a lot of people. I'm a massive Metallica fan too, and even before Stranger Things, I've loved this band for so long. But then when Stranger Things debuted that episode, and I remember like when the episodes dropped, they had the trailer, and I remember like hearing the rift start of Master of Puppets. And I was like, no shit, I got to binge watch and get to this scene like immediately. And I remember I spent the entire day, I those episodes were long, and I spent the entire day like, where is this episode? Where is this? And it wasn't until like the very end, but I got there, and I still think, in my opinion, that is the greatest thing someone has ever filmed in the history of television and movies of all time. Just hearing that you guys are coming out to Master of Puppets, and if I'm in that crowd, I mean, I might be getting kicked out because I might be the one starting the pit. Like, that's just me, though. But I think that sounds so incredible. I mean, yeah, I mean, I can see how something like that would get someone pumped up big time, because as a guest point of view, if I heard that and saw that, I would be getting really pumped, and I'd probably be headbanging and singing along, too. So it's like, and then you guys are going to come full force at me, and I'm not even going to know because I'm in my own zone right there. Completely going to forget where I'm at. Yeah, that's cool. So talk to me about how a typical night goes for you guys. Now gates are open. The people are coming in. What are some scare tactics that you guys are that you guys love to use out there? Obviously, sliding is a huge one for you. Have you guys figured out some stuff and some different tricks that maybe we don't even know out here that you guys have out there that you guys are using? Or like, how is it like for you guys on a typical night on the streets?
Typical on the streets for us, usually the first one, you kind of gauge the audience you're working with and what sort of crowd you're going to be working with, because you don't want to run head first into a bull or something on the street there that's going to wipe you out. So we try to engage them for the first couple of minutes, especially after the horde rush, to see how they react. I like to take the most tightest gaps possible on my scares.
Yeah.
Like, some of my highlight clips of scares I've had is like, I've just jumped, pivoted like this, gone through the tightest gap, and then landed into a slide and scared a group of 5 or 6 guests right down a footpath that have all just collapsed like little bowling pins, and they've all fallen over each other. And
yes.
all that. So I like those scares.
Yeah, we like to play it risky, I would say. We love a good risky scare. We also, because there's only there was 4 of us last year in our team. There's only a very small amount. So because of that, there's not a large presence. So I feel like we have to make ourselves larger than life to get that presence. We always find if we're getting gassed throughout the night, which we do a lot because we work very hard, we even like doing the little scraping of the toes on the ground, and you can just hear it echo through the crowd. And even if you're not scary, people just kind of go, oh, okay, they're getting closer, they're getting closer. One of your favorite things that you taught me was our little fingers. We love to just go up to Jess and just go straight in their ear, and they have no idea what to do. They all kind of go like, I don't know what to do. And then some last year actually started like clicking back to us. So to the night you go, oh, you guys, back to us. So yeah, we can do it all different kinds of content.
We're gonna put a shout out to is it Emerald
City
Effects. If it wasn't for how many there in the US, we wouldn't be able to get American finger pieces over to Australia because we don't actually have them here.
Oh, the
So
little
we have to
those
from the US.
those are interesting. So we have we have these stores out. I don't know if you have them out there. You probably don't, but it's a convenience store, like a department store called Lowe's, and they sell like, you know, things to build your house, all that stuff, like to upgrade, remodel, whatever. You go down like you would think that they're down like one aisle, and they're not. They're completely at a different aisle, I think, in the plumbing section. And you buy these you buy them, right? And the way they look is they're all wrapped around. You're like, how the hell are you going to fit? But you have to actually unscrew the damn thing. You guys know. I mean, putting these things down together. And I think that for me too is like when I put gear together, I mean, it was for the first time when I did it, I was like, it was very therapeutic and very kind of like one of those moments where it was like, I'm doing this. Like, this is my gear. Like, I'm making it. Like, I can make it to how I want it. It's just something about it. It's a special moment. But I love the way you were talking right now about how you guys were scaring. I see that a lot at haunts of people in and out quick. One of my favorite moves, and if you guys haven't done this one yet, you guys can have this one because it's one of my favorites. I love it when people do the fake kick to the face, but then they tap their glove on their pads, and it just makes that noise, and people like actually go back like you're gonna kick them. That is one of my favorite. I constantly will tell my like people that I know who are scaring. I'm like, go do the kick, and it gets people every single time. But I mean, it's just Go ahead, you're good.
Yeah, another scare tactic I do. It's a misdirectional thing. So because guests obviously over the night, they know that we've got these metal fingertips that clap. They know our shoes make a loud bang on that. So we use it to advantage. So I do a funny gag where it would be a clap behind the back and then a quick snap out at the opposite direction. So the guests will hear a bang to their right, but then on their left, there's a hand right there in their face. That's a classic. That gets so many guests the good old little misdirectional.
I don't think I've ever seen that one. That is a genius one. I'm sorry. That was a genius one though. I've never seen that one. I'm gonna tell people about that. And I know a lot of my friends in the United States here are watching. So if you guys are watching, take some notes because Australia may have you a little beat.
Even vocally too. Like I've always, as a scare performer before sliding, I've always used my voice for a ton of scares. And even one that I love to do is because for our costumes, we're fully covered, so all you can see are our eyes, and then the rest is just like a mask. So whenever I come up to people, I'll come up right to their ears, and I'll just start going, and I'll just start clicking in their ear, and all they do is go, oh my gosh, it's talking to me. What are you doing? And then just like snorting at them, like they go, did you just snort it? Like there's just little funny audio cues that you can do with them that they just kind of go, I don't know what that was, and I feel a little uncomfortable, and that's the best because as soon as they're uncomfortable, you've got them.
Oh, 100%. And I see it every single year of the amount of people walking. My favorite of all time is the chain link of arms walking together into something, and it's usually women, and it's so funny to see them kind of scared, and they know something is gonna happen, and you know, you got the boyfriends in the back trying to egg it on. And then what ends up happening is they get scared, but then the boyfriends even get scared even more. And I'm just like, that's what you get for making fun of them. Like, they're ready. You're not.
Yeah.
So I love watching people. That's my favorite thing is I get a season pass for the Scary Farm every single year, and I'll just sit out in the zones and just watch people like and film and just have these moments captured on camera forever. Trust me, if I was over there, I'd be doing the same thing every single night, getting all those moments on camera, man. Because those for me are just like the things I look back on, especially when I'm missing Haunt. You know, it's fun to look back on those moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think a big moment for us scaring as well is we get a lot of kids and a lot of guests that are disability or they're impaired, whether it's autism or anything like that. And we know for them, scaring them, that's a bit too far.
Right.
So we get them involved in a different way. We try to, our Sparks is a good thing, especially for those in wheelchairs. We love to make the wheelchair guests and that look like they're just shooting sparks out of the wheels as they're speeding down the main streets and that. So we'll slide beside them and just spark up their wheels and give them a night to enjoy and remember because, you know, unfortunately for them, a lot of people, they try to avoid scaring those type of guests because they don't know whether they should or whether they shouldn't.
They just the event too, so we can involve them in a different way. I think we had a wheelchair race last year with Songwon.
Yes.
That was so much fun. She was a regular that came a few nights, and she was hooking it with us down the main street. It was awesome.
Oh, that's
we
so
have
cool.
We have a big rule at our haunt, which is obviously anyone who's like under 16, you don't scare. You either give them like a friendly high five or you acknowledge them, but you deliberately don't try to scare them. One that we really love doing, we've had a lot of like, and I don't know why, but in Australia it's a big thing. People bring like infants in strollers that look like they're only 6 weeks old.
That happens here too.
Yeah, it's wild to us. It's wild. So we have a lot of those. We've had a lot of like deaf children. We've had a lot of really little children as well. Like 4 that see us and they get frightened. But because of our hands, we just start playing like sign language games where we just start tapping the floor, tapping back at them, and they'll instantly jump onto our level and they'll start mimicking what we're doing. And we can like touch them and then they'll touch us. I think I had a little girl last year and she thought that I was a puppy. So she kept like patting my head throughout the night.
Aww.
And then she came in, you know how cats head bump?
Yeah.
She was like head bumping me. So she came up to me in my mask, and my mask is like, his was like more plastic this year. Mine is really solid, like resin, like it feels like glass.
Right.
This little girl comes up to me and just goes,
bam. Oh,
smashes the
no.
mask into my face. And I went,
Oh, my God.
It's just little things like that where the kids just go, oh, that's really cute. And the whole night she was like, don't eat a puppy, don't eat a puppy. So you just muck around with it. And it's those little moments that everyone just like melts over. We love them.
I've seen so many in the States here too. So I mean, it's incredible when I see people do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's also good seeing those guests at the start of the night. They're a bit hesitant to come to you. They're a bit scared of you. But then by the end of the night, like I think one of my highlights from last season was one of these guests and carers brought their whole group of people that looked me after that had Down syndrome and that. And my highlight of that was I had one of the guests there with the Down syndrome come up and literally give me a hug.
Oh,
like
that's awesome.
5 minutes straight, just hugged me, wouldn't let me go. But at the start of the night, she was terrified. At the sight of me down the street, she would scream and run away. And I was like, how far have you come from being the first time you saw me screaming to now a couple hours later, you're coming up and you're wanting a hug and you're wanting that little bit of extra attention there that, you know, normally you're not able to get.
Oh, man, yeah.
That's kind of a big thing for us as well. It's not just the scaring and that, but it's also bringing the joy and the happiness for all those guests that, you know, they come to these parks and to these events to get that bit of extra joy in life.
Yeah.
And it's great for us as performers to actually give it to them. Definitely.
I've always heard the saying for scaring. There's 2 sayings that we like to constantly throw around here on the Nights of Horror. Number 1 comes from the brilliant, masterful movie Monsters, Inc. We scare because we care. That is definitely, I think, a motto for everyone in the haunt community. And number 2, if you can't scare them, entertain them. And if you can't entertain them, entertain yourself. You know, it's just, you know, hearing that is like, I've seen people at like Not Scary Farm. I've seen people at like Six Flags, at like Queen Mary. Some of the haunt parents will bring their little ones, and they're very respectful about it. They kind of stay out of the way, and a lot of those people that know those people kind of go, "Oh, okay, let's interact with them." I've seen such amazing things. One of my good friends who was scaring in the Clown Scare Zone Carnival at Not Scary Farm had a giant wind cannon that he was shooting air at people. And one of the little girls was she was scared in general, so he pulled her aside and he told her, "You start pointing out people and I will shoot my cannon at them." And she, after that, like, for the rest of the night, she was in heaven. Like, she felt she was part of the show, you know? And I've seen so many just great moments. I've seen people bring their babies and just the monsters just going nuts for them, you know, like just having a great time and just showing love and everything. Like, it is so cool when you see and you hear these stories of, you know, sometimes it's not all about the scaring. It's about making sure that maybe, hey, these people, if we don't scare them and we kind of show that, hey, this isn't scary, we're all human, like, everybody's cool, everybody's good, that they want to come back and they'll want to love it and grow this love for it like we all have. I mean, when I went to my first haunt, I was terrified. I was gone in 2 hours. 2011 comes and I go to Halloween Horror Nights and I fall in love with it. And now I continue to go every single year. And it is just incredible to, you know, to see that, like, hey, sometimes you can have one bad trip, but then if there's that one person that makes it memorable for you, you're going to want to return. Little do you guys know, you probably made their entire night, and they probably remember that for the rest of their lives. Their parents probably remember those moments of just that in general, and they're going to want to come back and visit you guys again. You guys got some fans. Let's just say that.
Yeah, even in Australia, we've got, like, we were overwhelmed with the fans that we developed. I think within the last 2 years, especially last year, we didn't start the season out as sliders. They had like a different creative vision. So they wanted to not let sliders happen that year. And then there was just this uproar that happened because all these fans all of a sudden took to all of the social medias and went, "We're at sliders. They're the best part. Where are they?" And we were shocked. We were just watching every day all of these, you know, TikToks, media posting, just going off about it. And then within the space of a week, they contacted us and they said, "Hey, I took your gear on, you're going to come back."
Uh-oh.
And that first night that we came back and we slid out to the front, it was just us two, and we slid out and you could just feel the audience just start roaring with excitement. And then we had people flooding our DMs going, "Hey, we came the first few nights, but we actually missed you. We had just bought another 3 tickets to the last 3 nights of the season. We're coming just for you." And they would sit, they would film. We've had like little circles that would form in the street, and they just started like yelling, "Do tricks." And we were like dancing monkeys for them. We just started doing all these tricks and they all went off. So yeah, we had no idea we even had, you know, 10 fans, and then all of a sudden to get flooded with all these DMs and stuff was wild. So we can't thank all our fans enough. They're the ones that kind of brought us back. So
wow, you continue to just blow me away of how much the reach is out there. It's incredible. I mean, it's just like watching it be born again somewhere completely different. Like I've didn't get to really see those early days of sliding, but when I finally got into haunt, I immediately started doing research and started watching old videos. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of Sliders of Ghost Town. That's a pretty big documentary. I don't know if you've, yeah, obviously that's a big one.
Yeah.
Seasons of Screams is another one too. That's another great one from like the 90s. Yeah. So, I mean, it is incredible, and it just makes my heart so like warm to hear that there was people petitioning you guys to come back. And like it's just so cool to see the power go to the people. It's like after all that, after all those tweets, after all those posts and everything, they called you up and said, "Get your gear back on, come back. We're going to have you guys out here. We need you guys out here." Pretty much, like, that is incredible to hear that. And I know you guys know this and everything, but like, you know, shout out to everyone who works haunt in general, like behind the scenes, whether you don't see them building mazes, in the mazes, on the streets, behind, like, manager, all that stuff. Just shout out to, it's a whole team effort. And I know you two guys know that more than anything. It's just one of those things where you can't do it without the foundation. And once the foundation is built, then you grow from there, and it becomes what it ends up being. And it's so incredible to even hear the fact that people bought tickets for 3 days just to come see you guys. Like, that feeling, I don't even know how I would be able to process that. Like, that must be incredible.
Yeah, it was amazing. And we would have people, because we obviously had our slider names developed when we first started. And we would have people, we'd come out for our run, for our little stint. And then as we would hit the street, in the background, you just hear all these people just start screaming, Xeno, Kaiju, over here. And you'd turn around and there'd be a group of like 10 people with their cameras going, oh, that guy's showing TikTok. Here's a friendship bracelet. Like, it was crazy. And there's always people we had no idea. And they DM us and go, hey, that was us. Would you like the footage? We'll go, yeah, shout out to you guys. You were awesome. So it was crazy. Like, just to hear even our sliding names yelled was something we never thought would have happened.
Definitely. It was kind of it was a goal for us. So we went to the US in 2023. So we planned our trip to go to HHN and to go to Not Scary Farm. And it was all because they announced that Masterverse was having a maze. And we went, oh, we have to go and see that. We were like, there's no other option.
Yep.
We have to go and see that.
And it just got better from there. Like, it ended up being 100 years of Disney. It was it 10 years of Decade Brigade? It was the 10
yeah,
anniversary of
they
Decade
were.
Brigade.
There was a lot of anniversaries that year, man. It was 30 years of Six Flags Fright
50
Fest.
years
Like,
of Knots.
yeah,
Yeah,
was
30
insane.
years of Nightmare Before Christmas.
100 years of a Hunchback. So it all just kind of fell. And we planned the trip as well in mind because we were going to get engaged. And as soon as Last of Us happened, Presley said, this has to be an engagement run. So Presley actually proposed in front of the Bride of Frankenstein photo walk at HHN.
Congratulations.
On the territory, which was incredible. Thank you. So yeah, we had our wedding last year, and it was like the end of last year.
Yes.
And all of our tables were themed to different things that we love. And one of the tables had to be horror. So everything from the trip that we saw was on our table themed for Halloween.
Yeah.
And it's just such a big part of our lives now.
And it was so big for us, especially seeing Knots and seeing all the sliders there and what they were doing. And we were like, okay, our season, when we get home, our season starts in a week or two. So what are we going to do to bring that level of Knots and that level of sliding back home? And what do we have to do for that? And we ended up we put in a position where we had to come up with the opening show every night from scratch because our team numbers had changed. We started with, I think, 6. Then one night we went to 5. Then we went to 4.
Then we went to
Jelly
2.
dropped down to 2. Then we went up to 3, back up to 4. Every night it was like, hey guys, you're gonna come up with a new idea for the opening act. What are you gonna do? And we're like, it's all good. We'll sort it out. And we're like, okay, how can we bring America back home here to Australian sliding? And how can we make it a big deal back here home as it is in America? And 2024 showed us how much of an impact we actually had and how much of a fan base we've kind of created back here in Australia.
Oh, man.
So it's just crazy for us.
Oh, man. You talk about the way you talked about and described your guys' experience for Not Scary Farm. Again, we've said it many times, that's the birthplace of sliding right there, and that right there has just to walk those grounds. It's so surreal sometimes that, like, you don't take it for. I mean, you kind of take it for granted sometimes because I'm just like walking around and I'm like, oh shit, man, sliding started right here. Like, I don't think people sometimes I like a lot of the majority people that go to that event that you see in that park. I don't think they know that. And you watch everyone, especially like you go to Ghost Town. Everybody knows Ghost Town. You know what I mean? Ghost Town is iconic. Then you go over to Carnival, and it's a whole different vibe. The lights are on. You know what I mean? And there's no fog. It's just all open, and then you go to the Goring 20s and you're transported in the damn 20s, and I have so much fun with the interactions in there. Then you go to the Forsaken Lake, and then you have the Gauntlet, and these two zones are just monsters in their own. And then of course all the incredible mazes that they do. So yeah, I can imagine. And then you guys talked about going HHN the year they did The Last of Us. I mean, anyone that knows the game or the show, it doesn't matter which one you know. I mean, that it's just so incredible what they did with that maze, and I'll never forget it. That year, we got invited out for the media night, the opening night, and I'll never forget this. I had Troy Baker and Neil Druckmann walk right past me. I looked Troy Baker dead in the eye, and I'm like, Troy, you are a fucking badass, dude. I appreciate everything you've done for me growing up to where I am right now. And he looked at me dead in the eye. And he was like, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, man. And walked away. And I was like, I just talked to Troy Baker. I just talked to Troy Baker. Oh my God. Oh, I just talked to Joel. That's awesome.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with that game, and when I think that maze was perfect from start to finish, and I'm glad you guys got to come out and experience that. That was, I'll tell you this, in all the years I've gone to Halloween Horror Nights, I have never seen a line get shut down because of how long the wait was. They had a 4-hour wait and they shut the line down. I was so blown away by that. I had never seen that I've been going since 2011. I've never seen it. And I was just like, the fan base behind that is just, it's incredible. But yeah, you chose some good years to come out for the 50th. Obviously, that was a big deal. You know, the 50th was a lot of fun. I see the lanterns back there. I see the lounge fly back there.
Yeah, we got a little bit of everything nice back here.
I love it. You got the Bride of Frankenstein on the top. That's one of my favorites. Actually, I got both of them on me permanently.
Oh.
So
I love it.
I love the monster. As you can tell, he's behind me too. The monster is one of the most tragic love stories in my opinion. But talk to me now about what it's like for you guys transitioning now towards like the end of a season. I know it's always the hardest to say goodbye for a season. It is. It's just like you have so much fun and it goes by so fast, and then you blink and now you're at the end of the last day. What is it like for you on that final night? You guys talk about, you've told me that you guys have a really solid fan base that comes and supports you guys. Are a lot of them there to say their final goodbyes to see you guys for the last? Is there a lot of big show up for that final night to just kind of bid farewell for the season?
Yeah, usually our final night, no matter what happens during the season, will always sell out, and it's usually one of the first ones to sell out.
Wow.
I think last year was really big too because we had our last night on actual Halloween, which we don't usually do. So everyone really loved that. Yeah, we had a lot of returning people that we didn't know were coming, and we just kind of go to the street and you'd make eye contact with them and you kind of run back over and go, you people, and we just have a little bit of a play. And on our last runs, the avid fans of ours, you can kind of see them not quite line the street, but they would almost line the street, and they'd all just kind of be waving. And as soon as they saw us start to go into our exit spot, you just see them screaming and waving, going, look. And it's so heartwarming because we give our all every run, every season, just so we can give people joy. So the joy for us is seeing everyone's reactions at the end.
Yeah. And for us, sliding, it's not as big as it is over in the US and for you guys and all that.
Right.
So for us, every year could be our last year.
Right.
So we're always like on our last couple of nights, go big or go home. So
Wow.
we just, whenever we're out there meant to be working sliding, it's just nonstop slide, nonstop trick, nonstop scare for the entire time we're out there, whether it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes straight. It's just nonstop adrenaline rush the entire time until we go on the break, because we're like, we want to give these people a full show of everything we can do.
Yeah.
Because if it's our last time, then we want to come out there and showcase what we can do. And, it's exciting for us. After every season we finish, we go home and we look back at stuff and we go, okay, how can we improve our gear? How can we improve our tricks? What can we do next year that's different to what we've already done this year? What can we do to make it better, bigger? So our off time, we we try to map out what we want to do, what we're planning, what we think we can do. If we want to try something new, we'll go down to our local training spot that we use, and we'll just start testing out some new trips. Get on the socials, we'll watch the guys in the US and that. They'll see what they're doing. Our whole learning has just been watching footage and self-taught at a skate park. That's all we do.
We don't have any camping park or anything like that. We just have a good old
Oh.
rough skate park that's very gravelly. And when you hit the deck on that, you very much know what damage you've done very quickly.
Oh man, I imagine.
Yeah, trial and error.
Yeah, I imagine, because I hear people, the amount of kneecaps people go through on the first weekend of Haunt. They're already going through a pair of kneecaps within that first weekend. I'm like, dude, you got a whole season to do. How do you plan on doing that? And it's amazing. We got to get you, if you guys ever do come back, we got to get you to Chapman Park one of those days. Like, we need to get you guys on those grounds just so you could say you've done it. To say you guys, you're gonna go on there. It's gonna feel like butter. You guys are gonna soar.
Yeah.
And we got to get you guys over there for sure if you guys ever come back over. But I think that's cool that you guys have a spot out there regardless. I mean, I was gonna ask that question. I was like, where do you guys go in the off season? You guys said like a little skate park too. Like, it's cool to see. Obviously, everyone knows about Chapman Park and stuff like that, but it's cool to see for me when I see other people and how they figure out other spots. Like people out in Six Flags, they live about an hour and a half away, 2 hours away from where we are, Knott's and stuff, and they have they go to a parking structure. And they're cool with the security guards, so much so that the security guards would actually just sit down and watch them slide, just to pass the time. So. Yeah. It's cool to see. Like it almost reminds me of back in the 70s right here in California in Dogtown when they did skateboarding and they would drain pools into the backyards and just skate them and stuff. So it's like wherever you can find your spots, man. It's as long as you can master that craft. I mean, and I think you guys are doing incredible work over there. I definitely gonna add it to the bucket list of trying to make a trip out there to see this haunt in person because. From what you're telling me, like I think I have to go. Like it's a no-brainer. But you said something that hit me a little bit, and I was like, wow, I didn't even think about that. But you said any year could be your last. Are like I gotta make a public message to Warner Brothers right now. Like, what do you mean it could be their last? This should be your, like, I'm thinking like in 2025, Warner Brothers, hear me out, because you took away a haunt out here in California that I missed, and you need to bring that back first. But you need to take a look at this haunt, and you need to realize what your biggest selling point is. And I'm pretty sure, obviously, people are there going to haunted houses. No disrespect to any of your actors there. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of talented scare actors at that haunt. But y'all need to have a sliding show. I mean, it is huge. We need to get you guys out to Queen Mary, Dark Harbor. I mean, y'all need to have a sliding show, 100%. And Warner Brothers, let's make it happen. They need their shine and their glory. They need that slider show. And I guarantee you, I will promise you, there will be a full crowd for that show every single night. Promised. I'm making the stamp of guaranteed right here. So if Warner Brothers is watching this, I called you out. Make it happen for 2025. Have to. Bigger and better. But no, I in all seriousness, I really think that the idea that they gave you guys the opportunity to come out and do this and really show a new audience this art form that is sliding and to see what you guys done with it. It is incredible to see what you two have done with it out there, because you're expanding that audience even further. And now you got people wanting you guys to come back. I mean, it is insane to even hear that, because like you said, there isn't much theme parks out there. There's a bunch of little haunts here and there, but these are the big major haunts out there. So to see that you guys have set and like a positive influence on the community out there to want to keep coming back and want to be diehard fans, want to support you guys, want to film clips for you guys, and just interact with you guys. I mean, that is the whole reason why I contacted you guys, because I was like, this is incredible what they're doing out there. We got to talk to them. If we can make this happen, And sure enough, we made that happen like very quick. I was like, oh, we're rolling the ball on this. Like, we got this window. We're gonna do it. And I'm so completely honored and privileged to have you guys on this show today to talk about that experience because, again, I don't think, obviously a lot of these haunts and stuff overseas they get attention, but they don't get nearly as much attention as you see over here in the United States. And I feel like there's so much more in the world as a whole to go see and to go do. And if you're planning on traveling, if you're a Halloween fanatic and you want to see what else in the world there is to offer, this is just one example. There is so many out there, but I mean, they do master puppets for their opening, so that's probably the main example that's the one you want to go to. Like, that's the one I want to go to. But, no, you guys are killing it out there. What is some advice, especially out there in Australia, because you're going to have a lot of people coming to check this episode out, even out there, which is going to be incredible to meet brand new fans and audience to see what they think of what it's like over here in the U.S., but what is your advice to anyone who wants to pick this up, who wants to do this, and just kind of wants to follow in your footsteps? I mean, because let's be honest, guys, you guys probably are going to inspire a lot of future generations to put on some pads in Australia and go about it. What is some advice you would give that next generation, that next scare actor to go in and do that?
I'd say just give it a go.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the good old Aussie way, just give it a go. We get a lot of people at our hall that, especially last year, they came up to us and said, hey, how do you get into this? We really want to do it. We've had people in our DMs talking about it. And the easiest way is literally just go get a cheap pair of knee pads that you don't really care about and try hitting the deck a few times. And if you think that you can stick with it, then start building your own gear and just start trialing it from there. I know for us, it was a big trial. We never knew how to make our own gear. We had to Google it all. And then fun fact for sliders in Australia, our heat and our humidity makes the glue that everyone uses, instead of like your E6000 that sticks really well.
Right.
Ours, after a few weeks, because of the heat that we have on our ground, it just starts to melt and it just starts to peel off.
Wow.
So we've had to trial different ways on how we can secure our gear, how to cure it, and how to have it set so that way it doesn't come off. Because I know one year we almost had a whole steel cap toe come completely off. So it's all about trial and error here, and it's so different with the climate. Just give it a red hot go, honestly. And once you do it, you'll either get the, oh, I'm too scared, I can't do that again, or you'll get the buzz of, okay, that was cool, I nearly died, let's try that again, but a bit safer.
Yeah, it's like the good old Aussie way, trial by fire. So chuck it on, throw yourself in that fire pit and see what happens. If you come out the other side unscathed, then you're all good. Just keep going from there and keep trying.
You gotta take a couple of bad falls before you can you got to crawl before you can run, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely, I think it's like, I know I keep saying it, but it's just so mind blowing to me that I'm glad that there is influence out there, that there is things growing out there, and that you two are at the forefront of paving that way for future generations out there. I think that for me, just looking in, just as a fan, I mean, you do get excited. And I'm glad to see that there's a lot of people that show up and come see you guys, because you do get excited when you do see a lot of these people. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to befriend so many people in the community, both scare actors and just people in the community. And it's so cool when you go to haunts, especially when you start getting to know and build relationships with these people, that it feels like when you go to all these places, it's like a giant family reunion. Like, when you get to see people again, it's like, oh man, I haven't seen you in like a year, but then it feels like no time has passed and you pick up where you left off, and it's just so fun to see everyone, and we get to do that every single year. You talked about friendship bracelets earlier. That was huge over here. I'm glad that that's making its way over there. I've seen scare actors with like a whole arm full of them, and it's insane. But I think it's such a nice gesture for the appreciation to show to you guys. Even we took a part of that a few years ago. My girlfriend, she helped me make a ton of them, and she did an amazing job with all of them. We were handing them out to everyone we knew, so that is awesome to see that made it out there too. I mean, what's it like? Do you guys usually, like, for diehard fans, have you guys gotten fan art? Have you guys gotten just, like, I mean, you talked about the friendship bracelets, but like over here at Knott's, I've seen people at Knott's live drawing characters as they're scaring, like on their iPads or on their sketchbooks and stuff, and I'm just blown away by that. Have you guys had any people come up to you that give you guys any fan arts, or like seen that personally at your guys' haunt?
We haven't had it in person. Right after our season finished, we actually had, I can't remember their name, there was a person on Instagram that DM'd us, and it was fan art of the two of us together in one of our iconic poses. Wow. And then there's another person who has done solo, like, drawing sketches of us with all the shadowing and stuff. And we never thought in a million years that two Aussie sliders that just kind of learned as we went would be getting fan art, friendship bracelets. We got like cute horror stickers.
Yeah.
And it was like Freddie and Jason on the phone at like a summer party. And we got those, and they were just cute. And whenever we get them, it's a big flex in Australia when you get something like that. So we'd get our friendship bracelet or our picture, and we'd go at the back and to our like green room of 20 performers, we go, I don't have one, and we're going to go find this person if you want one. And they go and go, I went to that person and they didn't give me one. And I was like, well, the obviously not as cool as us then. Like, so it's awesome. We love it. It's so fun. It just makes our night more fun.
And yeah, it's so new. Like, it rarely happened.
Yeah.
The last season's kind of the first season where those kind of things have actually come into our hall and been part of it. So it's a new thing for us as starers to have that happen.
Yeah.
So it was exciting, and it was great, and we can't wait to see what this year we're doing.
Yeah, we're excited for this year. We're hoping it'll be a even bigger year for us.
That's awesome. That I think that's funny though that you guys walk in and it's like a flex. Like that's just so cool to me, because it's like to me it feels like at the end of the season, like who has the most fan stuff, you know what I mean? Like that's how I would do it. I'd be like, I got more, you know, whatever. But you know, I see it all the time, every time. I mean, I've seen people give people. I've personally fed a funnel cake to one of my friends who was a scare actor at Knott's, and that was a lot of fun. But I've seen people eat candy. I've seen people get fan art. Just a bunch of things. Like it's so crazy because it's like you guys are like rock stars essentially. You know what I mean? Like people look up to you and like they kind of really like, wow, like they want to spend time and do things for the character and everything. And I think it's just so heartwarming that there is a fan base that loyal, much like anything else in this world, that are just diehards that want to just give back to the monsters that scared them or just made their nights memorable or anything. Like I think it's so awesome. So
yeah, we actually randomly went to a 21 Pilots concert here in Australia, and we were in the line. We were about to go into the mosh pit, and we were just randomly on our phones, and there were two young guys beside us, and they had started talking about Fright Nights randomly. And Prezzo started eavesdropping, and we both just kind of winked at each other and went, don't say anything, don't say anything. And they kept kind of talking about it. And then we leaned over and went, oh, did you guys go to Fright Nights this year? And they went, oh, yeah, it was really cool, blah, blah. We said, oh, what was your favourite moment? And they were like, oh, we liked the mazes, but I think those sliders, like they were pretty cool for us. And we went, oh, the sliders. And they were like, yeah, they said there was this girl slider. They came up and spoke to us and went, oh, really? I just kind of kept nodding my head. We were both winking at each other. And they kind of stopped mid-conversation. They both turned to each other. And then we both went, oh, yeah, we're those sliders. And they're really nonchalant. And they just kind of went, hang on. No, you're not. And we pulled up our Instagrams and went, there you go, that's us. And then all of a sudden, we had two new best friends at the 21 Pilots concert. And they were like, oh, my God. You guys are awesome. I was talking to you on the curb about the rides being closed early. And then he came over and then we said, no, we're not talking to your girl or anything. Like, it's just so funny. We randomly find people now that go, Dylan, you were the sliders. And we go, yeah, that's us. So
That's awesome.
now seeping into normal day life as well.
Yep. And it does all the time. Cause I there's like, we just went to Universal Studios and, a couple other my YouTuber friends, showed up. I didn't even know they were going to be there. And I'm over in Super Nintendo World and I'm looking through stuff and I'm playing games and stuff. And I know where I hear my name and I turn and they go, "Oh my God, is that the Knights of Horror?" And I'm like, "No, I'm on vacation. That's not him right now. I'm on my vacation with my girlfriend. So, if you want to leave a message though, he'll get back to you soon." And then we just, we talked and everything. But, yeah, it's so cool those moments for me. Cause like when it first started happening, I was like, so like, how do I deal with this? I don't know how to do, like, I'm kind of antisocial unless, I start warming up to people and it's just, I'm trying to break that. And I think I'm doing a good job with these podcasts. Cause there's a lot of people I've never met and it's like, bam, I can get into it. But, there's times where like people have come up to me that are fans of my stuff and will tell me like, "Hey, I watched this and I watched this and I'm a big fan of this." And it's like, it gets nerve wracking for me. Cause I'm just like, you actually spend the time to watch stuff that I make? I'm like, that is so awesome. Like, I appreciate that. And I can relate. It's just one of those feelings where when you get it and it's like, oh fuck, like, especially how you guys did it so nonchalant and you were just like chilling, hearing the conversation and then sparked a new conversation and then put two and two together and their minds were blown.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah, we just can't thank our fans enough. Like they're the reason we always come back every year and they're always so kind and supportive, like even on our TikToks and stuff that we post. And they spark us to try new tricks. We were trying new tricks this year when it started raining in our haunts that Prez started. And he wouldn't even slide on his knee pads. He'd slide on the rubber of his shoes and then drop into a slide. And there's just all these cool little tricks that that you've really developed over the years that everyone goes, "Oh, do the scorpion tail. That one's really cool. Do that one." And then we do it and they all just go marvels over it. So it's really just wild. And we didn't know how to handle it at first, having so many fans. We were kind of like, this is surely like a fake account, right? This isn't real. And they'd start referencing videos that we put up. They'd say, "No, we saw you at this film, blah, blah." And it's just, it's wild. It still blows our minds. We had someone who lives an hour away from us and they contacted us to say, "Hey, Sinister Slide Gear sent me over to you. I contacted him about gear and I've never been to a haunt before." And he lives an hour away. And he was like, "I didn't even know these things existed. Tell me more. I want to come watch you guys." So it's really strange. It's just this crazy world that we've stepped into and it's just blowing up by the day.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very small world. I mean, the company you just mentioned, I know I've met those guys. I've talked to those guys. Like and so like just to hear that there's connections going everywhere. Like it doesn't matter. People, if they're interested and you have an audience out there, they are interested, they are going to reach out and figure out, or something's going to happen where one day a video like yours is going to come up on their TikTok feed and they're going to be like, "What the hell is this? I want to see more of this." Click on the profile. There's a whole TikTok page full of this stuff. Then he starts going down that rabbit hole. And now he's a new guest for the 2025 season. She's a new guest for the 2025 season. They're bringing mom and dad because they want to go see it so bad. You know what I mean? It's just like, it is insane the rabbit hole you can go down if you're clicking or you're finding the right things, or if by fate just happens to drop them in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny how big, and it's also crazy how big it's gotten here, especially in Australia. Like, remember my first year in 2022, I didn't know really anything about the US and, the guys in Canada, the guys in Germany and Japan. I didn't know much about that. And I had guests there going, "Oh, you look like Fireboy, you look like Fireboy." I'm like, "Who is this Fireboy?" And that took me down that rabbit hole of all those guys. And I was like, I am nowhere near this guy's level of sliding. Like, this guy's on a whole other planet to me right now. But I was like, what, like, why are these random names and references just getting thrown out everywhere? And then, yeah, it's just crazy. Like, recently we had a slider from Germany who works over at a theme park called, I think it's called Movie Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
It used to be under, I think, Village Roadshow. But they're under Warner Brothers and they parted ways a while ago. and they've got a team of sliders there. So one of the guys, Dead Silence, reached out to me and was like, "Hey, bro, I love that trick you do, the scorpion's tail. I'm making a promise to you now. I'm going to go back home after holidays. I'm going to learn that trick. I'm going to get that trick down packed. I'm going to film it, and I'll do it out horn, and I'll flick you the footage and show you." And I was like, "Sweet as." So, we've gone and we've had chats with some of the guys in Germany and heard about how their horn works and what they do over there. And if you haven't seen them, you got to check out the Germans. Their costumes are out of this world. They're nuts.
I bet.
Shout out to Dead Silence and Lilith. They are epic. We love them.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Germany the big country that does Krampus? Are they huge on Krampus over there?
I think so. I think so. I think they do wrong.
Because yeah, and if they are, because I've seen what they do for Christmas with Krampus. They do like a whole festival. People dress, and just those costumes alone are terrifying. And I'm like, that's just Krampus. Like, imagine what they can do creatively with Halloween in general. Like, yeah, they get down over there. They are freaking amazing.
I think for Halloween last year, they had a quiet place as one of their mazes over there in their German park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't allow any footage of that inside, so you can't see what the mazes look like.
Wow. Yeah, we had that
website, and I was looking at them.
HHN this year, too.
They have, like, crawl spaces. Yeah, so they have, like, crawl spaces in their mazes. So, like, they're like, warning, this maze here, you got to get on your hands and knees and crawl through this doorway.
And let me put you in my shoes real quick on that one. I'm 6'6", okay? So that is going to be somewhat of a challenge for me, but I will more than willing do the challenge. I've done a lot worse with a lot smaller spaces, but it's worked out. The haunts over here, I mean, we have a few haunts like Dark Harbor does it. LA Haunted Hayride does it. Few haunts where you got to crawl and you got to and I'm just like, I'm not built for that. Like, I'm too big for that. It's hard to get up afterwards. Like, give me a break. Luckily, there's some haunts where like, hey, there's a section where you can just walk to the other side and meet your party. I'm like, I'm gonna do that. You guys go have fun. But yeah, it's incredible to see that. Like you said, and you guys are keeping in touch out there with Germany. The German team over there, I mean, that is incredible to see that they got their own slider team going on out there. I've seen a few haunts on YouTube within Germany, and it just looks insane. Like, I need to go over there too. When I become a billionaire, a lot of you won't know, but there will be signs. I will buy a freaking private plane and hire a pilot, and we will be traveling the world. Just doing a haunt tour, but that is incredible. I mean, have you guys talked to anybody from, per se, Japan or I know you mentioned Canada. We're going to be talking with someone. If you're watching this, we already did talk with someone, but we're going to be talking with someone pretty soon from Canada. So what's that networking like out there? I mean, because it's so cool. I'm like I said, I'm learning a ton today. So like, there's other things that I'm just like, now I want to see what they're doing over there. I want to see what everyone's doing, because if you're a fan of haunt, you just want to see it all.
Yeah, definitely. I think from Japan-wise, we've come across, I think there was that one video that went viral.
Yeah.
And it was the Japanese guys sliding and the dudes doing the side flips and all that stuff that we've seen.
A few followers from Japan. They've been really cool getting on board with it. I know Sparky from Canada, he is awesome. We've had very long chats. And he would say, "Oh, you've inspired me to do videos." Then he started putting videos up of his little haunt. And yeah, a lot of the Germans as well. Like, we always just kind of keep in touch. Is it like what you were saying earlier? People like Fryboy, and Presley's like, I don't even know who Fryboy is. And then 2 years later, Presley's DMing Fryboy as a good mate. And it's like, it's just this crazy world that we're in. So yeah, we always stay in contact with a ton of them. And we want to get in contact with a ton of others just to see what else is out there haunt-wise. Because it's just such a bigger world than we thought it actually was. We thought it was, just mainly America. And to see it going everywhere, like you said, it's wild to us that even we're a part of it.
It is, it's incredible, and I love seeing it. I mean, I'm seeing Universal out in Singapore doing a Halloween Horror Nights out there. so jealous because they had like a giant Resident Evil show, like a stunt show, and I was like, I would love to see that. I love those games so much. I hate Nemesis, but I love those games. But just to see what everyone does. I even think at the Singapore Japan or the Singapore one at Halloween Horror Nights, there was even a scare actor who was literally underwater scaring people this year. That went viral. I was tripping out on. I'd never seen anything like that. I was like, this guy's got commitment. He's willing to put his whole life on the line for this right now, and I gotta support the guy. It's like it's his decision. He wanted to do it. Like, this guy's incredible. You start seeing things on the internet that you just are just blown away with, and I am so, again, I'm so fortunate that we got to make this happen, because I feel like I have a whole new knowledge, and I feel like going into watching YouTube videos now, especially if you guys, like, I'm gonna have a whole different perspective on things, just kind of seeing and hearing what I heard today. And again, it's on the bucket list now to try to go out there and hopefully one day visit you guys, and see what everything's all about, because I know there's more out there, and I know there's a very big growing community going worldwide. And in a time where there's so much division in the world, I thought this was the best time to unite. And, we're the haunt community. No matter what goes on in the world, I mean, we got each other, and we always will have each other, and it's I think it's time more than anything to unite and just peace and love. That's my motto. I love peace and love, man. We need more of that across the board. I heard some very touching stories between you two today that proves humanity is still a thing, and that it still exists, with working with different people, no matter what they're going through, whether they're not able to physically walk themselves. You guys made it memorable for them to remember why they wanted to keep coming back to haunt, and why they want to keep seeing all that. You talked about people with Down syndrome, and how beginning of the thing they were scared, and by the end they fell in love. Like, I don't think people realize the power that haunt and the haunt and Halloween community have. Like, we're not, we may look scary and we may act scary, but I guarantee you, in the end of the day, we are some of the nicest people you will ever meet, and I will stand by that to the day I die, 100%. Which brings me back to you guys. I mean, again, I'm so fortunate we got to do this episode, and I'm so fortunate I got to meet you two. And I love what you guys are doing out there. Keep doing it. Keep changing the world. Keep changing Australia, the haunt game in Australia, and hopefully one day you'll have a team of like 20 sliders out there, because I think it's more likely to happen now more than ever. So keep going.
Yeah, definitely. No, thank you for having us. It was when I got the message from you saying, hey, we want you to be on this podcast, I instantly turned to Frazzy. I went, this isn't real. Like, we've had that many spam things. Like, surely this is not real. And as soon as I said it to Frazzy was like, no, jump on it. Do it. Like, this is cool. We've never had this kind of offer or this reach before. So, and when you said that we were making such big waves in the States, like, obviously, we met a lot of sliders when we were over there in 23. And we did a lot of, knots and stuff with them, and they were amazing. And the community over there is incredible. And we just thought, they're just good friends. Like, that's all it'll ever be. But to know now that the reach is so big over there, and we're so well known, like, honestly, it just warms our hearts. We are so humbled, just to be in a little tiny part of the world, but for everyone to kind of know that we're making that stand happen. So thank you for having us, because it's been absolutely amazing talking to you and telling our story from the Australian side.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And, I have a feeling this isn't the last time we're going to be speaking to one another. Like, we will probably do something in the future again, but definitely going to stay in contact with you guys and hit you guys up throughout the season. My favorite thing to do throughout the season, and I think it just needs to be done just as a mental health thing, but I always like to check in on a lot of my friends who scare, because I know it could be a very physically and mentally draining job at times, and I know sometimes I don't know how it is over there, but I know over here sometimes we have people who like to get a little too drunk and then get a little handsy or get a little violent, and it just becomes a problem where you look at that and you're just like, why do you come to these things? Like, yeah, I digress.
We get a lot of it over here. It's really weird being with sliders over in Australia because we feel like at our haunts, we're the guard dogs of the street. And we just thought it was us because, we always get those haunts, especially our haunt era, because you're allowed to take alcohol around the park with you, which is what we never usually used to have happen. And we've had a lot of interesting drunk stories or people getting fancy and funny stories.
Wow.
And when we weren't there for the first few nights of our season, there were all these complaints about all these problems that were happening on the street. And the moment that we came back, we're friends with a lot of the security guards, just normally day trade during the park. And we would have the security guards coming up to us and they're doing their job. They're watching the street. We've come out of our little area and they just start tapping us on the shoulder. And we turn around and like, we're so happy you're back. There have been barely any incidences since you've been back. And because we can see it happening and a lot of our performers on our street can't, we can get to them quicker than any of our other performers can. We just get straight between them and we just completely drop and went, nope, do that again and you're out and we'll march you out ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's usually enough for them to get snapped and they go, oh, okay, really sorry, won't do that again. And you'll watch them through the night and you'll just do these ones at them through the mask. And because they can't tell what gender we are, a lot of them think that I'm a guy, even with my plaits. So they'll think I'm this massive, 5'9" guy coming straight at him, and I just giggle into my mask going, it's just little on me. So yeah, we are very much like a huge presence on the street, and we stop a lot of the problems that happen, which is crazy as well.
It's like a pack mentality.
Yeah.
For like a pack of dogs, and we just come in.
One slider sees it, then all 4 sliders will go to that one person and tell them to back off and target them, and they all just kind of go, okay, yeah, messed with the wrong person, I'm just not going to do that again.
The forms of intimidation that you can put on people, it is just so magical. It is like, and people, especially working at Haunt, you can get away with so many intimidation stuff if people are acting amok, and 9 out of 10 times, it is going to go your way. Like, it is going to go your way. I'm glad that it seems like to me, like after talking to you guys for this for this entire podcast, like you guys are an essential glue and an essential piece for this haunt to run smoothly. Like, and just hearing it, like, to see that you guys provide that extra security essentially on the streets to protect your own, to protect, the rowdy crowds and stuff. I don't think I've ever heard anybody like do that. Like I've seen people look out for each other and they kind of, your awareness is really good when you're out there, but to see them that level, that is incredible that you guys play that portion of just the security guards of this haunt, but essentially still scaring, and it's like, again, you can play, like you said, you could play on that, like how you do with the I'm watching you, and you're wearing a mask, they can't see your face, you're laughing hysterically underneath, but in reality, you got the straight face on, and they don't even know, and Presley comes up and just gets that scare, bam, beers are on the floor, that's $18 down the drain. It's the best.
Yeah. Yep, that's happened a lot. It's great.
Yep. And that's one of my favorite things to see every year, because I will literally be the one asshole that yells, "Damn, dude, that was $18 you're not getting back." I have a lot of fun when I go to haunt. I do. I love to support my friends. I love to see what they can do, and a lot of people it's really hard to scare me because I know who they are. But there is some nights where I'm caught off guard and they go in for a slide or something, and I'm like, damn, that guy, okay, that got me. Like I'll be the first to admit it, but yeah, I understand the safety portion of it. Like I've stepped up to guest and for my friends sometimes just because I didn't like the way that person was talking to that person. And it's like, you were being very disrespectful. This guy's just trying to do his job, and you're just trying to bother him. Like, leave him the fuck alone. Like, go somewhere else, like leave. And I think that's always the most important thing working haunt is the safety. You want your fellow scare actors safe. You want to be safe. your entire crew to be safe, and of course the main thing is you want the guests to be safe and so they can enjoy it and everything. So I'm glad that you guys really take safety and take the responsibility of making sure everyone, not just one person or anything, but like everyone has a equal and great time. That's a big role.
Yeah, 100%. I think coming from our background as stunt performers as well, we take safety really strongly to our hearts. And like you said, not just the scare performers, but also the guests. Like you can see if someone's getting chased a bit too long and you can see it starting to get a bit sprinting. We try to either stop the performer or calm the guests down. We can see when guests are going to fall. So we try to like catch them in character while sliding. So yeah, we're always making sure. And if we do see someone hit the deck, we're usually the first one to scoot over and we just whisper through our mouths, "Hey, you all good?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, thanks, I'm just really scared." I'm like, "Okay, you can go to guest services if you need to, but are you sure you're all good?" They're like, "Yeah, we're fine." And then we just go on our merry way. So yeah, we love watching out for everyone. I've had a lot of friends have a lot of problems with those kind of people at ports. And I'm always the first one to jump in. And then after the night, they'll go, "Hey, were you the side that jumped in?" And I went, "Yeah, that was me," because he was tailing you the whole night. And he went, "Okay, yeah, thank you," because he did that to my other friend too. So we know if you nip it in the bud, then it'll hopefully stop.
Yeah. Again, you guys continue doing what you're doing, but I got to ask, before we wrap this up, because I could talk to you guys for another like hour and a half for sure, or even longer. We can keep going. But I thank you for the time. I'm glad we made this work out again. And if anyone was knowing, when we were talking one back and forth, the main thing we were trying to figure out was the time difference. I knew going into this that I was going to have to work around and work with different time zones and stuff. And that was the fun challenge about this project, was to get to know everybody's time zone. If I'm not mistaken, currently, I think it's around like what, 7:30 for you guys?
Yes,
7:30
on the nose, actually.
Okay, I'm getting better at this stuff. It is currently 7:30 in the afternoon, right? PM?
Yeah.
PM.
Midnight, yeah.
You guys are on the tail end of Thursday. We just got started in Thursday, 1:30 in the morning here in sunny, well, not so sunny. It's actually raining outside. Rainy California this time. But it was, that's one of my favorite things was when we were coming up with this idea for the podcast, was just figuring all that out, because it is a big deal. This right now, I mean, I don't know if people like will kind of realize this, but this is history right here. Like, we are finally coming together and branching more so United States overseas with other countries that are in this business. And as someone who creates, who has this podcast for the platform, for the monsters to speak their stories and tell their stories, I had to go overseas, because there is so much going on over there that I don't think a lot of people know. And now, especially with doing this month, I'm hoping that there's more of a like a tap in of like going and exploring the world of YouTube and all these different haunts and what there is out there. Finding you guys, finding the Germany team, finding people in Japan, finding people in Canada, finding people throughout the United States. It's even huge in Mexico. Like, it's everywhere. It's insane. So I think this was the perfect time to do it. Like, we had to unite and just show everyone that, hey, there's more to haunt in the world than the United States, and let me show you what else there is out there. And this was a perfect example of you two not only being our finale for this incredible month that we've had right here with the podcast, but overall, just, again, doing what you guys do and changing the haunt game one step at a time, 1 year at a time. More and more, it seems like, elevates more and more every single year. So again, to all of us out here that love this business, much like you guys, love this community, and just always are trying to find ways to how can we immerse ourselves more and more into it. Thank you guys so much for continuing and picking up something that was in the States, and then you brought it over and for you guys, it's home, and that's where now you guys are taking on that legacy and taking that forward for the future. And I assume all the other teams and all the other countries are doing the exact same thing, getting a fan base and inspiring a younger generation, the next generation of scare actors to slide or to scare in general. So bravo indeed. I hope you guys continue to grow and thrive as sliders, and I hope that Warner Brothers, I'm looking at you right now, hope that you give them a slider show one of these days, so you guys can continue to grow. And again, I hope one day I get a message from you guys saying like, dude, we got like 20-25 people on our team this year, and I'm just like, go for it, have fun with it, make the most out of it. You guys have an army this year. Show people why they should be afraid of you. It's incredible.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having us. It's honestly, it's been an honor. We've loved every second of it, and we've loved being able to share our side of sliding with the world and our fans, and hopefully for many more to come down in the future.
Yeah. Indeed. One last question for you guys, and this is usually the hardest question for a lot of my guests. So you might have to think about this one for a second, or you give me the fastest answer possible. This could be the easiest question or the hardest question of the podcast. What is your favorite horror movie?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
I feel like you've got one, but I don't know if that's your favorite from your first horror story.
There's so many good episodes.
Yeah.
I think for me, because I was never a big horror girly, I hated horror with a passion. And it wasn't until I started doing all of my special effects makeup stuff that also led me to like the horror world. And I started going, okay, I can now distinguish if that's fake and that's not. And then getting older, I am working on stunts as well. I can now just go, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like I'm not into like blood and guts, like realism stuff, but everything else I can do. I had two. Second has to be Bride of Frankenstein, just because I'm
Classic.
in love with her after everything we've had with her.
Yeah.
My number one is Alien vs Predator.
Ooh.
I'm an Alien vs Predator diehard. I've been collecting figurines of them since I was 12. I have loved that world. I think I have over 300 just like 7-inch figurines. I'm obsessed. So that one 100%, it's changed my life. So that one has to be my top favorite.
Now, have you watched Alien Romulus yet?
I have watched Alien Romulus.
It was incredible. It took us back to the 70s
Yeah.
again with the original Alien film. I love what Fede Alvarez did with that movie. I cannot wait for his sequel. It was incredible. And then Prey on Hulu was incredible as well. Prey, that prequel to Predator. I mean, if you guys haven't seen that one, or if you have seen it, I mean, it is incredible. So yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Tell me yours, Presley. What you got? Hit me.
I think probably I would say it'd have to be Wes Craven's Last Nightmare. His very last installment of the Freddy Krueger franchise.
Was that New Nightmare?
Just 'cause it hits home. I think it's Last Nightmare. It's the one where it's pretty much, it brings the actors out of the limelight.
Yes.
And they're actually playing themselves in the real world.
The meta movie, as it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's a great one.
Yeah.
Like that's scary on its own. Like, oh, these guys are just actors on a production. The next thing you know, here comes Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Freddy's probably your favorite. You've had a connection with Freddy since he was little.
Good old.
Yeah.
Freddy's always here.
Yeah.
Freddy's always here.
I him when I was 9. I watched the original when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
And I remember to this day the nightmares I had, and then in my nightmares going, wait, this guy can show you in your nightmares. That is a nightmare that sticks with me still to this day. I didn't remember it just vividly.
Yeah, I agree. I remember, like, as a kid, the two movies that traumatized me, but now are probably some of the reasons why I am where I am today. Freddy vs. Jason, I think, is iconic. You have two icons going at it. That just doesn't get any bigger than that. And then Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Just the cheesiness
Yeah.
Yes.
of that, and it was just it's come full circle for me. Like getting the opportunity, talk about getting opportunities over the pandemic. I had an opportunity to like interview some of the cast of that movie, and it was just I couldn't hold it in. Like I was so happy, and just like it just as a fan, like you're like, dude, I watched this movie growing up, and now I'm talking to the people. Like this is so surreal. COVID opened up a lot of doors for us, and then as much as it was a shitty time for the entire world, I sometimes still thank it just for the opportunities it opened up. But whatever was going on in the world, it was a bad time. It was not fun. But we are here in 2025. Can we hopefully see you guys back this year? If all things considered, I mean, I hope to see you guys back this year. We're gonna see you guys back this year, hopefully. Is that the plan?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
They're in the development stages at the moment. I know that they started towards the end of the year, the talks of what they were doing. The creators haven't leaked anything out yet. We have a few other events throughout the year. So that we find out usually around a month, maybe 2, if we're lucky, if we're coming back. But from the reaction that we've had last year, there's very good hopes that we're pretty solidified in the nations of this year. So we hope to be tearing up the streets again later on this year.
Definitely. And Warner Brothers Slider Show. Remember, leave it at that. Where can people find you on social media? I want people to connect with you guys. I want people to, if they have any other questions that we didn't get to talk about today, about what it's like out there for you guys and stuff, like what's the best way, what platform can people reach you guys on?
So we're both on Instagram and TikTok. My tags on both are at Xeno like Xenomorph, and Presley's is at Kaiju. And yeah, just DM us anything that you want to talk about, if you want to follow, if you want to do anything like that. We're always open to talk. Our time zones might be a bit funky, but yeah, we're always open to talk, and anything slider or haunt related, we love it. So
just remember, 18-hour time difference, people. So if you're gonna message accordingly. Like at midnight, probably be the best time to message them because it's the afternoon in their place, so they can be a little bit better. But nonetheless, Xeno and Kaiju, I appreciate both of you. We started introducing with their formal names, and now we're going to end it introducing them with their haunt names. And I think that you guys are doing incredible work out there, so keep up the great work. And again, you guys have an open invite on this show anytime you guys want to come and talk about something, you guys want to just chat some horror, you guys want to tell more stories in the haunt world, the door is always open. You just send me the message, and we will set it up quickly like we did this last one, because again, it's so incredible that we got to do this, and I've been looking forward to this all day, all weekend since we got it set it up, because of just the historical significance behind the fact that we finally got to get out there internationally and see what it's like out there, and I don't think this is the end for us. I think we still got some more people to talk to, but I'm so glad that we had you guys on our first inaugural Scare Actors of the World takeover. It's been an incredible month, and I hope that you two have not only an incredible year, but an incredible haunt season for 2025. And hopefully in this lifetime or the next, but I'm hoping for this lifetime, that we can eventually all meet up and in person, whether I have to go over there or you guys are coming back out here, wherever it may be, because it's a bucket list item now. Again, I just got to get the passport and we're good. But I guarantee you we'll cross paths again, and just keep doing the great work you guys are doing, man, because you guys are killing it out there, and it's showing over here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, we're definitely planning to come back to the States. It's a big journey for us, so we're slowly grinding and saving. But yeah, our goal is to get back out there as soon as possible. If Last of Us 2 gets announced this year, that's going to be a big issue to our bank account.
Yeah. Or if a Five Nights at Freddy's Maze gets announced, HHN.
We're waiting on that. We've been waiting on that for a minute, HHN. What's going on? Listen, I'm not afraid to call it HHN. I've called out HHN so many times.
Yeah, our bank accounts might take a big hit if they drop something big that you want to see.
Yeah.
Trust me about it.
But yeah, we're definitely coming back. It won't be the end of us. And we got to meet so many amazing people last time we were there, and we've branched out so much more now. We have so many more contacts. Our plan is, if we can fit it in our luggage, to take our slider gear over with us, so we can literally just go have a skid with everyone, go have dinner, like just have a great time. So yeah, it definitely won't be the end of us. And I'm sure that you will see us on this podcast again, because you are just amazing to talk to. And it's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you over the podcast. So thank you for having us again. It's been an absolute honor.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
so
absolutely, indeed. And don't even worry. Trust me, my bank account took a little heavy hit today, or this year too. Okay, I bought some tickets for WrestleMania out in Las Vegas, and that was a pretty penny. So, you know, I get it, but I gotta go see my girl Rhea Ripley defend her title. So, you know, we already know what it's about. Yeah, I know. You guys are I know you know who that is, because she's an icon over here, and I can only imagine what she's like over there. So,
yeah.
I again thank you guys so much for the time, and I'm glad we got to make this happen. If you guys are new to the channel, consider subscribing, because we got more podcasts like this coming out in the future. Hit that like button, leave some comments down below. Let Xeno and Kaiju know that, hey, we're watching, we're loving what we see. And Warner Brothers, get him a goddamn slider show. With all that being said, hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and hope you guys enjoyed the month overall. We worked really hard on this. We're very proud of this, and I'm glad that all these people got to share their stories with you. But if nothing else more, I'm your host, Anthony, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, stay spooky.